Hello, everybody. How's it going? How are things? What's new? I am Nojoke, which I occasionally forget, so I wrote this right here. I'm a Lichess administrator. I am trusted to answer questions about Lichess. Occasionally, my answers will be correct. And we thought it would be useful to interact with the community. And so if you have any questions, I'm looking at the chats in Twitch and on YouTube. Not to brag, but I have some special software that allows me to look at both chats simultaneously. Simultaneously. That means at the same time. So you can ask questions in either chat, and I will quickly go through them and see if we find a good one to answer. We do get asked a lot of the same questions every time we do this. And that's okay. If you are asking a question that has been asked 1,000 times, I will happily answer it. But to be totally honest, my answer may be slightly brief. I apologize if I don't launch into, an hours-long discourse about why there isn't Bughouse on Lichess. Because I've given that answer a lot. And it's not a silly question. I shouldn't say that because there's probably people in chat that were like halfway through typing their question about Bughouse. It's a perfectly reasonable question. People play Bughouse. Chess players play Bughouse. Lichess is a chess site. Why doesn't Lichess have Bughouse? So if you were one of those people, don't feel bad. It's a perfectly normal question. We are the abnormal ones that have to answer it all the time. Let's see. What are my questions? I saw some good questions. There were some good questions. I'm going to scroll way to the top here. Where was the first question? Can you track the previous games of your gamers? Of course. If you are logged in, then your games are... Let me show you exactly where. You can go to any... profile. We can go to my profile here. No joke. If I were logged in, I could click on my own name. You click on the games, and you can see all the games you ever played. If you're not logged in, you can also... your games are saved, but they are a little bit harder to find. Possibly impossible. It's kind of the point of playing games anonymously, is that your name isn't attached to it. Which is very nice if you want to be anonymous, but less nice if you want to keep track of it. So, yeah, make an account. I suppose that's the lesson we take from that. Why can't we have multiple pre-moves on Lichess? We could have multiple pre-moves on Lichess. I don't think we want them at the moment. Whenever I answer this question, and I have before, I should point out I'm not a super bullet player. It's just that's not my drug. I'm not into it. If you like bullet, good for you. You do what makes you happy, but I'm not super into bullet, which makes me sort of have no right to have opinions on how bullet is played on Lichess. And believe me, when it's discussed in Lichess HQ, I make a point to not have an opinion. But I get the impression that among the bullet folk, of whom I do not belong, among the bullet folk, multiple pre-moves is not popular. It's not something that we're aiming for. I always thought that it lowered the skill ceiling a little bit. Because if you're fast, if you're Andrew Tang, it helps a lot to only have one pre-move because it takes maximum advantage of your fastness. But this is an amateur's opinion. I may be totally wrong about that. How are you so awesome? We carefully hide the moments when we are not awesome. What makes Lichess's UI and interactivity so smooth compared with other websites? Well, I am not a developer, so my technical knowledge of these things is limited, but I do hang out with the developers. So I am very good at mimicking them and the things that they say. I think Lichess is just very simple. The amount of data you have to load when you load Lichess is much, much smaller than other sites because there are no superfluous aspects. It's all, just the game of chess, and that leads to a very, very slim, very efficient site. Opinions about Chess24 and Chess.com, they're great. What do you expect me to say? Great sites that I use all the time. Who's the founder of Lichess? my illustrious friend Thibaut Duplessis is the founder and lead developer at Lichess. What do we got? What percentage of all games played on the site are analyzed with anti-cheating algorithms? That is a difficult question to answer. First of all, because I can't tell you exactly what the anti-cheating algorithms are and how they work. I will say this. If you use the most liberal definition of being subject to cheat detection, every single game played on Lichess is subject to cheat detection. There is not one game played on Lichess that does not have some level, some kind of cheat detection. It is not the same for every single game. So to answer your question, I don't think I can give a very coherent answer to that question for various reasons. Why, if you ban someone and block them, can they watch you and join your arenas? Lovely chess, by the way. Thank you, Fortuna Chess Coach. Let me make sure I understand the question here. Are you talking about if we ban them or if you block them? Assuming that you are not a Lichess mod, which I don't believe you are. But if we ban people, they cannot play in arenas. They cannot play rated games at all. If you block them, they can still play in tournaments with you. And the reason for that is we simply can't allow you to block people in tournament pairings. Because there would be a huge exploit where, going into the last round of the tournament, number 1 and number 2 need to play, and then number 2 blocks number 1 and gets an easier pairing. And so if someone you don't want to play is in a tournament that you want to play in, you have a decision to make. It's one or the other. What is your favorite piece and how much do you bench press? In addition to cheat detection, I will also not answer questions about my bench press. I've found that when I publicly say how much I can bench, it's intimidating and it causes problems. So we're not going to talk about it. We're going to transition to other subjects. How do you keep your beard so sleek? Olive oil. I just rub olive oil on it every day. Oh. What do we got here? Is random colors really random in Lichess? Not exactly. If you are talking about pool games, these are the games where you click on one of these buttons to play. If you have been taking a lot of games as black or white, we give you the other color to balance it out. Other than that, I knocked my mic over. Sorry. Hope that didn't make too horrendous a noise for people listening. That'll wake you up. Other than that, they are random. I talked about multiple pre-moves. Lots of questions about other websites. I can't answer these guys, and not even for diplomatic reasons. So somebody says, opinion on chess.com increasing bullet ratings by 150 for every player. How should I know that? Well, what do I know about the chess.com rating system? I have a hard enough time staying informed on the Lichess rating system. I'm afraid I don't follow them, all of the various rating systems. I imagine those guys seem pretty smart, that they had good reasons to bump it up 150. I have no idea. Only ask me questions that I have some hope of giving a reasonable answer to. What else do we have? Many questions. I'm always worried that I won't get enough questions. You'd think I learned, because there's more questions than I can take. Is Lichess hosted on AWS? No. OVH hosts our servers. What else do we have? So many questions. Scrolling. Are you the famous Nojoke from the NRK interview? No, that's somebody else. I get that all the time. Didn't you have a Lichess.dev badge at one point? Yes. That's too niche a question. I'm not going to talk about it for a very long time. Oh boy. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. If I miss your question, I'm sorry. I want to be a little bit more current. I am checking YouTube. La has asked if I'm checking YouTube. I am, but there's a lot of you. If I miss your question, I'm very sorry. I promise you I'm trying to get to every question. A lot of people asking about multiple pre-moves. I gave the answer earlier. It's not really a goal for us at the moment. It's not impossible that we'll have it at some point, but not something that I think is likely to happen in the near future. Here's the other question I get all the time, and I'm going to answer it. I'm going to give my practiced answer. Is some sort of puzzle rush going to be implemented on Lichess? Well, that's an easy one. No, never. There will never be puzzle rush on Lichess because puzzle rush is a registered trademark of chess.com. And they would understandably probably be very upset if we released a feature named exactly like their feature and using their trademarked IP. Could there be some kind of timed puzzles? Sure. The new puzzle set that we worked so hard to make just recently would help a lot in that respect. And I think the chances are good. It will not be called Puzzle Rush. It will be timed puzzles, or it'll have some other name. And time puzzles have existed for a long time, long before Puzzle Rush. They're on Chess24. I feel like there was, what was that old software called with the guy with the long beard? Chessmaster. I think Chessmaster might have had timed puzzles. Did Blitz Tactics come before Puzzle Rush? I need to look that one up. I may be totally wrong about that one. What are your plans to improve Lichess? Like what? Please give examples. These are very aggressive questions. I feel like I'm being interrogated by the police. We have a policy. Policy is probably exaggerating how much we've thought about it. One thing we do at Lichess is that we generally don't announce stuff before it's ready. So new puzzles just started recently. Yay, new puzzles. And we had a beta that was kind of sort of announced, not really. We very, very quietly announced it. We wanted some testers, but not all the testers. We just kind of said, hey, Lichess, new puzzle system beta. And then people said, what? What'd you say? Nothing, forget it. But the reason we don't announce stuff before it's ready is, why would you ever announce stuff before it's ready? That's crazy. I don't know why anyone does that. Very often you start working on something. This could be a feature on a website. This could be an article. This could be a video. This could be a birthday cake. This could be anything. Very often you start working on something and you realize halfway through it's a bad idea and you're not going to do it. And it's a very hard thing to realize if you've already, gone on every social media platform and announced you will definitely have that thing ready on Tuesday at 2 p.m. So yeah, when we do stuff, you'll learn about it when it's ready. I see lots of people talking about Lee Shogi. Maybe I should give Lee Shogi a try. Can we live stream playing on Lichess? Of course. We even have a feature for that. We even have, right here, you can make a streamer page. Here's our streamer page. We even have an official Lichess streamer page. And then your followers get a notification when you're streaming, and if we like you a lot, we'll put you on the front page. So yes, of course. Of course. Let's see. How do you pay for Lichess? We pay with donations. that pays for everything. A lot of people aren't, is this true anymore? I guess it is. A lot of people aren't even realize that they don't realize that you can donate to Lichess. It is called the Patron Program. It's linked on the homepage somewhere. Yeah, right here. You will also see it linked on certain users' profiles because they have the Wings trophy on their profile. You can click on that and come to this page, and it will give you options to donate. And it has all sorts of information about Lichess's state of our finances. There's a cost breakdown where you can see what we spend our money on. You can see the active creation for the French charity that we are. You can send Bitcoin. Of course, what kind of nerds would we be if you couldn't give us Bitcoin? They would take our nerd card away forever. I should mention that donating, when you donate, you get in return nothing. You get nothing. No, you get our sincere appreciation. You do get that, but this doesn't open up any part of the site, and it never will. This is a core principle of Lichess, is that it is free for everyone forever, and we will not be changing our mind on that. It is not negotiable. What's another question? Is there a way to watch a simul from the host perspective as they move from board to board? When a simul is going on, there is a orange outline that is around the board that the simul giver is currently looking at. If you, I don't know if there's an ongoing simul right now. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, well, this one hasn't started yet, but when it's ongoing, playing right now? Yeah, you will see a list of games, and the one that the simul giver is currently on will have a little outline like this. So it's not exactly seeing from the perspective of the simul giver, but I guess that kind of answers your question. More questions about multiple pre-move. Is 4-player chess going to be on Lichess? That is very unlikely in the near future, but not impossible in the long term. Another question about how we pay for things. Any plans to implement Bughouse on Lichess? No, not in the near future. Bughouse is a tough one because a big thing that our developers care about is complexity. We try very hard to keep complexity down. And as far as I can tell, complexity seems to be a thing that developers care a lot about, and the business people do not care a lot about because it's not a problem for them. In fact, it helps them a lot. Complexity means basically every time we make a new feature on Lichess, that feature, we can't just make it and walk away forever. Like, well, there's puzzles. Okay, see you when we make a new system in 15 years. Every single part of Lichess needs to be maintained constantly. There are things breaking. There are little bugs that pop up. There's always some work that needs to go to a feature to keep it alive, right? So whenever we make a new feature, that means we have a little bit more work to maintain it. So every new feature on Lichess makes the next new feature a little bit slower in arriving. And so we generally try not to add a lot of new stuff. Now, I get the impression that the business-minded folks do not see it this way. The business-minded folks want to announce a new feature so that they can, sell it, so they can get new memberships or new whatever. And generally at websites, the business types are the bosses and the developers are not the bosses. So you get a lot of new features. At Lichess, the developers are the ones who make decisions about what is going to be implemented. And developers know that when you implement stuff, you have to maintain it. And doesn't mean you never implement anything new, but if you're going to implement something new, you better be sure that you want it for a long time. Skipping ahead. You're saying you're not going to announce my birthday cake before it's ready? I will not. We're going to show up to your birthday with like 5 birthday cakes because nobody announced that they were going to make it. The Lichess birthday parties are very awkward. Everyone brings a birthday cake. Questions. Saludos desde Chile. Saludos a usted, amigo. Somebody's asking about puzzle. I think they got their question answered. My question is, apart from Patron, can Lichess bring other badges for small donors? Because most people try to donate Lichess in order to buy attractive badges. If Lichess brings these small cost badges, you only need to give $1 to get the Patron badge. I believe that's the minimum donation. It's hard to go much lower than that. We could do, other charities do this, level of support things. Like, if you give $1, you're just some guy. If you give $2, you're our friend. If you give $3, you're our super best friend. If you give $4, you're the salt of the earth. And we could do something like that on Lichess. Doesn't seem likely to me. Doesn't seem likely. It's just not the sort of thing that's going to super motivate us to get working on it. People are asking about keyboard. Yeah, I suppose I should give my keyboard spiel. So there's an extension. I almost called it a popular extension, but I don't know how popular it is, actually. There's an extension that lets you use the keyboard to make your moves, and it makes making moves a lot faster, and of course, as a result, it gets used in Ultra Bullet a lot. At the moment, it is perfectly legal on Lichess. That opinion is somewhat controversial among the community and also among Lichess people. I would say we are not super sure about it either. At the moment, it's legal. If that changes, we'll let you know. What else do we have here? More Lee Shogi. Lots of people. I'm glad Lee Shogi is getting some love. I should have put Lee Shogi in the last open source blog post. Maybe it'll be in the next one. Does the founder of Lichess play Lichess or chess.com? You'll have to ask him. I'm sure he looks at both. I mean, we all of us look at other websites because you're just curious what other people that have the same task that you do have done to handle that problem. So of course we're always looking at other chess websites. Just curious what they do. And whenever there's a discussion about how to handle something, it always is like, well, what do the other guys do? Just out of curiosity. Anybody have a link to all Lichess-based websites? You know, we should have a page like that. That is an excellent idea. I might do that. There are many, many, many Lichess clones for various different games. And we could have a page where we like collect them all. I don't think there's that many. How to learn Scala slowly and with great difficulty. I don't know. I will tell you how to learn Scala when I learn it myself. How to import games in Lichess. This is very easy. There's an import game button right here. Although I think you should use studies. If you're not familiar with the studies, studies are under the Learn submenu and then Studies. And they are basically a list of games. And you can put comments, and you have an engine, and you have table bases, and you have all sorts of great stuff. I would recommend that you put, if you want to import a game, you probably should put it in a study. But you could just import it. That works too. More questions about keyboard. More questions. Where can I find a list of studies on Lichess? On the homepage. Learn, studies, studies. What else do we have? Man, chat is flying. When did Lichess hit the 100K active player mark for the first time this year? This is somewhat controversial, actually. Brainsucker92 asks me, when did Lichess hit the 100 concurrent player mark? So there were two big chess booms this year. The first one was during the quarantine at the end of March, the beginning of April. And our user base exploded, very close to doubling. And then in the last couple months with this Netflix show, it has boomed again. There are some people who say that we crossed the 100K barrier back in April. I did not see that happen. The Lichess sysadmin has looked in the database and said it came very close to happening, but did not. As far as I know, the answer to that question is... I don't know, a month ago or something, we crossed it, and that was the first time. But there are people who will tell you I'm wrong about that. Opera and 12G are playing Crazy House World Championship in 20 minutes. Who do you expect to win the Crazy House title today? Any plans to include Crazy House puzzles? I don't know of any plans to do Crazy House puzzles or any variant puzzles on Lichess in the near future. I haven't the slightest idea who's going to win. I don't know anything about Crazy House. I'm very sorry. I'm a standard chess supremacist. I have a terrible prejudice against variants, and the variants community suffers under my hateful gaze. Can programmers access some Lichess API for their game database? Well, I don't know exactly what you're trying to do, but there are Lichess APIs for all sorts of things, and they are located at lichess.org/API. Does Lichess hire developers? Yes. We have a full-time developer, one, Mr. Duplessis, and we have also paid for other development work numerous times in the past. Although most of the people that work for Lichess, both as developers and for all of the other work necessary to keep the website running, are volunteers by a big margin. Any tips for someone just starting a chess blog? I don't know, it'd be interesting. I don't have any good advice to give. Nice beard, thank you. Not enough compliments for my beard. It's very disappointing. Would you consider another chess engine besides Stockfish? Well, let's look at the options here. If we're using a regular chess engine, then why would we get one that's not as good as Stockfish? I mean, if we're using a Stockfish, I mean, I know the new Stockfish uses some neural network elements, but yeah, I guess I'll just skip ahead and say no. We're quite happy with Stockfish. Some people suggest adding like Leela. They would like to see a Leela option like in the analysis board. That is a very reasonable request that is not technically very possible, unfortunately. Leela doesn't work very well in browsers, apparently, for reasons that I am not technically qualified to explain in great detail. Are there chess ebooks on Lichess? I don't know of any, but there must be. Somebody is saying they want to lock in the lines and circles on studies. I thought that they stayed locked in. I thought that if you put a line, it would stay. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Does Lichess have dark modes? We have 2 dark modes. We have an abundance of dark modes. There is a regular dark mode here, and then there is dark board. But you will only notice the difference if you have a board visible. Dark board makes the board darker, and regular dark leaves a brighter board. How many total players are registered on Lichess? A lot. I don't know. I don't have that information right in front of me. There's about 5 million games played on Lichess every day. So maybe that will give you some sense of the scale. Registrations is probably not a great way to measure how many new users you have, because some number of those registrations will be people that are not new, that are just making a new account for whatever reason. So yeah, I don't think like the number of registrations is, it tracks closely with number of new users. How are you? That's the best question I've gotten all day. I'm good, Halifax. Thank you for asking. I'm very well. More questions about dark mode. What is my rating? You can look it up. This is my name right here. That's me. You can go look up everything about me. Is there Bughouse on Lichess? No. It's not hiding anywhere, sorry. It would be cool if we were able to change our usernames. Yeah, that is not possible at the moment, and probably not going to happen in the near future. The thing about usernames on Lichess is that in the database, there is no difference between your display name and then the name of your user. So other websites have like the name of the user for the system and then the display name, and you can just change the display name. Lichess does not. So it would be technically difficult. And frankly, it's not, personally, it's not a huge priority for me, because you can just make a new account. If you made an account named Tweedledum and you want an account named Tweedledee, close the Tweedledum account, open a Tweedledum, open the other one, right? And I guess you want to keep your game history or your ratings or whatever. Okay, I understand. I understand. Does Lichess intend to expand into other chess variants, Chinese and Japanese chess? No. Unlikely to be any new variants on Lichess in the future. And there are other sites where you can play those games. Go use those sites. What you want already exists. We don't have to do it. It's already been done. Is there an opening repertoire feature coming in the future like Chessable or Chess Tempo? Depending on exactly what you want in an opening repertoire feature, that is already possible with studies. Depending on what you want. Skipping ahead a bit. We could have timed puzzles. Somebody's asking that. What about incentive for the users to fill out country on the profile? That's an interesting question. What sort of, first of all, I'm not sure if we want to do this, but what sort of incentive would we offer? No, you're allowed to be anonymous on the internet. I mean, of course I would be against ever like forcing people to name their nationality. And I don't know why we would even super push people to do it. We don't need to know anything about you for you to play a chess game, right? Other websites have trackers and they know everything about you. Facebook like knows what you had for breakfast. It knows everywhere you've ever been. It knows your deepest, darkest secrets. And it's a little creepy for me. We take it for granted with modern websites, but we shouldn't. Why do we need to know all that stuff for you to play a chess game? We don't. So don't tell us. It's fine. It would be creepy for us to even ask. What else do we have here? Did I see you on Norwegian TV the other day? Maybe. You know, I'm on a lot of different TV channels at a lot of different times. It's hard for me to keep track. You know, it's a new TV station every day for me, so I can't be expected to remember them all. Can Lichess organize correspondence tournaments? Yeah. Do people really like correspondence tournaments? I know they have those on chess.com. It sounds like something that would take months. I don't know. If there's enough demand for it, we could consider it. $5 if you fill out your country. That does not seem like a good use of donation money. 100 free rating points. Again, that could cause problems. Let's see. Lots of questions about Puzzle Rush. Mr. Dodgy says, are Lichess sore losers? Yes. Yes, being a sore loser is one of our core principles. It's one of our 4 core principles. No ads, no trackers, no paywalls, and always be a sore loser. Those are our 4 principles that come directly from Richard Stallman and the free chess movement. My father had a draw against a guy when he had a winning position, and it wasn't a stalemate position. Is it possible to cheat like that? Or when we get questions like that, very often it is because there is some rule that allows you to claim a draw that the person is not aware of. If you will post the game in chat, I'm sure someone will help you. What else do we have? Man, so much chat activity. Where can we find tournaments with cash prizes on Lichess? There is a Lichess group. Let me find it. 1 second. If you search for Curator, you will find Lichess Curator, and this group keeps track of events played on Lichess only. Not every event played everywhere. These are only events played on Lichess. Many of them for prizes. And if you want to know if they have prizes, you can click on them and find out. And it sends out a mass private message every week to let you know, and there's also a schedule waiting right there. Team Swiss tourneys? How does that even work? How does the scoring work? You people just want to combine everything. Just what about Team Swiss puzzles, bug house? No, no. There's no current plans. I like to install Irwin for mass analysis of cheat detection in our club's competitions. How do I do that? So there is a neural network that we use for cheat detection called Irwin, and it is open source, as is a lot of the software we use, almost all of it, nearly all of it. The problem is that software will not work for you without the training data. And the training data is people that we have banned. So we're not going to give that out. Sorry. But if you have your own training data, go for it. What is your life story? It's going to take a while. Maybe that's a different stream. Puzzles for blind people. Do puzzles not work in blind mode? I'm not going to demonstrate this. There's a video on our YouTube that explains it very well. But there is a blind mode on Lichess, and the blind mode is not for people who are wearing a blindfold. It is for people who are always blind without a blindfold, for blind people, right? The blind people use screen readers, which reads out the text of a web page on browsers, and it basically transforms Lichess into a form that works very well with the screen readers. You can check out the YouTube video if you want to know more about that. I'm not going to fire it up right now. Scalar says, I don't really want Puzzle Rush. All right, it's decided. No Puzzle Rush ever. If you're mad about it, go ask Scalord. I'm joking. I think it's clear that I'm joking. So many questions. I remember not being able to play with a friend through the mobile app. One of us had to use the browser version since the app sends you a link and the link can't be opened with the app. Yeah, there's occasionally a problem where tournament links and challenge links and probably some other links that I'm forgetting cannot be opened directly in the app. And it's like a mobile OS problem where you can't make the app the automatic way that it's opened. The solution to all problems like that is to just use a mobile browser. If you're watching this stream and you thought that the app was the only way to use Lichess on your phone, then now I have fixed that. Now you know the truth. You can also just open up Chrome or whatever mobile browser you prefer and use Lichess quite conveniently directly in the browser. You will not have to download any app. You will not have to waste the memory of your phone on an app. Give it a try if you never have. Maybe you've answered that already, but are puzzles getting analytics now that they are in categories eccentric? Maybe. Maybe. If you weren't around earlier, I made it very clear that we don't announce things until they're ready. So the answer to your question is a very smug maybe. What was the name of the neural network you mentioned? Irwin. It's linked somewhere. I think on the source code page of the website. Again, it will be of no use to you without the training data. It's a little. I saw 3 or 4 questions of people like, "What's this cheat detection engine? Can we see that? Can we investigate it closely? Can I?" It won't help you unless you have the training data. I'm skipping over people who are saying very nice things, and I just want to everyone at once who said they like Lichess or other kind words, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get to all the questions. I hope that I am not being rude by graciously accepting all the compliments. When will you be able to ship the Lichess products like the hoodies and t-shirts to the Middle East? I was not aware that our merchandise provider did not ship to the Middle East. I didn't know anything about it. To be honest, the merchandise is not something that we spend. There's a merch store. I'll show you. Where is it? Sorry, I have to move some windows around to click on it. Down here, we have a swag store that sells t-shirts and pajamas and baseball caps and the like. The way this works is that we just hire a company and they make all the stuff. We give them the right to make the stuff and you buy it and they give us a little bit of the money. Basically, this exists because people wanted Lichess stuff and we didn't want to make it. We're not set up to do screen printing. So if you want things like this, here you are. You can buy them. If there were issues with our provider, we might switch them at some point. So, you know, if they like don't send you your stuff, or this thing where they can't ship to the Middle East, apparently, please let us know. We would like to know about it. I don't know if we're going to switch, but we would like to know if there are problems. Who is this dude speaking? Nojoke is the founder. I'm not the founder. Why would you think I'm the founder? Is someone working on Puzzle Rush? I'd be willing to contribute code towards it, but I missed your earlier response to the Puzzle Rush question. There's a very good chance of there being timed puzzles on Lichess. I cannot give a timeline on that. If you are interested in contributing to Lichess code on timed puzzles or anything else, I would highly recommend you check out our GitHub page. There's two things to check out. You should also check out the Discord. On our GitHub page, you can read commits, which are the new bits of code going on to Lichess. You can file an issue, which is for bug reports or for new feature requests. You can read the developers talking to each other, occasionally arguing. The other place you should go if you're interested in Lichess development, either contributing or just following it yourself, is the Discord, and that is linked on the homepage right here, where it says Discord, right here. And the Discord is, I mean, first of all, for just casual conversation. It's just a clubhouse. And there's also lots of talk about ongoing Lichess development. So what I understand is that Lichess doesn't ban cheaters, but just marks their account. No, we do both. The Lichess moderators will use the word marked to talk about somebody that's banned, but they are also banned. They cannot play rated games. When are we going to get a no-joke stream? This is your no-joke stream. I don't know. I'll try to do a stream myself at some point. Why does time stop when you pre-move in Lichess? Time does not stop, sir. Nothing can stop time. Time marches forward ruthlessly forever. It simply, to us, it seems incorrect to charge you for your time when you literally have spent none of it. When you literally, the instant it becomes your turn, you have already moved. What about a knockout tournament? Unlikely to be added soon. You can do knockout tournaments yourself, can't you? I mean, okay, so here's the problem with knockout tournaments. You cannot have huge knockout tournaments. They make no sense at big levels. You need a knockout tournament with like 4, 8, or 16 people, maybe a little bit more. We just had a tournament on Lichess, the marathon, that had 27,000 people in it. You could not have a knockout with 27,000 people. It's also not the best way to maximize fun, to be honest, because after the first round, half of the players are done, are finished. So if you want to play, you know, for an hour and you have an hour-long knockout, right off the bat, half of you don't get to do it. And actually only a couple of you get to do the whole tournament. So it's just, arenas are so much better. If you have a small knockout with 8 people, you can kind of organize it on your own and just challenge each other. So I don't think that particular feature is a super high priority. The other thing about online tournaments is that people leave. This is part of the reason that Swiss took so long to implement, and why I continue to think that Swiss isn't super well suited to online play. People join online tournaments, they play one game, and then they leave, which they are allowed to do, right? And in an arena, that's fine. That person will finish way at the bottom, and the event goes on, and there's no problem. In Swiss's, it's not a super big problem, but it is a problem because it can affect pairings and stuff. If you play a super strong player in the first round, and then that player just leaves after they beat you, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. It would be annoying to me anyway. Knockouts are the same way. People leaving really mess it up. So yeah, no knockouts soon. Why are Lichess ratings so much higher than the FIDE rating system? Because they're not the same system. I mean, this comes up a lot where people will say Lichess ratings are inflated, or it happens in other contexts. They will say that USCF ratings are inflated, or I don't know, wherever. Inflated is the wrong word. Lichess ratings are not inflated; they are higher at certain levels. Certain people should expect their Lichess rating to be higher than their rating on other sites. Is, Fahrenheit inflated compared to Celsius? Is Fahrenheit wrong? This is a poor example if there's Europeans watching. It may be. But anyway, is the euro inflated compared to the dollar? Is the Japanese yen inflated compared, to the British pound? These are just different systems. They will never match up exactly. You can have some vague idea about how many of one is equal to another, but they will never match up perfectly, and the goal is not to have them match up. I mean, would you all want us to go into the rating system with a machete and hack it to pieces to try and make it match up with FIDE ratings or wherever? That sounds like a terrible idea to me. The rating system, the goal of it is not to have it match FIDE ratings as closely as possible. The goal is to find you a good game, to find you someone to play that is neither too hard nor too easy. It's the same thing with puzzles. It's to find you a puzzle that will be a challenge, but not impossible. So yeah, that's my bit about ratings. I lost my entire friends group because I support Lichess terms of service. Wow, what kind of... those your friends are very passionate about terms of services. Okay. Can you explain to us what is sandbagging? Sandbagging is losing on purpose. It's very simple. You must, on Lichess, and this is on every website and in real life too, you are required to make a good faith effort to do your best in every game. Losing on purpose is not allowed. What else do we have here? Is it possible to increase the chapters of study to more than 64? It is certainly possible, but that would up the storage requirements for Lichess, and we would require a really strong reason to do it. I suppose my question for you is, why can't you just use more than one study? Please. Do you do programming for a living? No. No, I do work for Lichess, but I am not a programmer. I do the non-programming things. I do the Twitch streams and answer emails and write and be a leader. That's really my main role at Lichess is leadership, to give sage, wise advice. Are you planning on creating puzzles for variants? No, there's an excellent site that was linked earlier that already does that, and you should check that out. Can Lichess be editor's choice in the Play Store? I haven't the slightest idea what one would have to do to make that happen. What else do we have here? What else? These questions are coming hard and fast. I need a sip of some water. Oh boy. So many questions. Getting asked the same question a lot. Can you increase total game moves to 500? Why? Why? Why do you need 500 moves? I believe the maximum number of moves in a Lichess game is 300, if I'm recalling correctly. So if you get a Lichess game to move 300, it's instantly over, and I believe it's a draw. Basically, everything has to be limited on a website. We can never give you infinite anything. Because whenever you give infinite anything, a nefarious hacker will come will take infinite of that thing, thus breaking the website. So if you say, play as many moves as you want, some very clever hacker will say, great, we will play infinite moves and bring down your website. That's kind of simplistic, but yeah, everything has to be limited. What else do we have here? Nojoke made billions through the stock market, actually. That's not true. Will Lichess app go on F-Droid? I'm sorry, I don't know what F-Droid is. There will probably not be any chess variants. People are asking about that. Any new chess variants in the near future? I'm not going to talk about cheat detection. I see a few questions about that. The stream title that says ask almost anything. The exception, the things that I won't talk about is how cheat detection works exactly and how much I can bench press, as mentioned earlier. Those are the two off-limit topics. What else do we have? Will there ever be a brilliant move category on top of an accuracy, blunder, etc., such as the one that exists on chess.com, when the move that you make results in a higher engine evaluation than the move suggested by the engine? Wait a minute. I have to parse this question a little bit. So brilliant moves happen when the move that you make results in a higher engine evaluation than the move suggested by the engine. How is that possible? I assume the engine evaluation. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe it would happen with like different depths. Maybe at depth 18 it's one and depth 19 it's the other. But if you're giving out, medals for that, it sounds like giving out medals for like the vagaries of the fact that engine evaluations are not deterministic, that you can get, different numbers at different depths. Not a super big fan of the idea, but maybe. F-Droid is an app store for Android, which only has free and open source software. Oh, I was not aware. We can look into that. When will we be able to see what friends are online? How about right now? You can't see it because my big head is blocking the way, but in the lower right, there is a friends list that will show you, among the people you have followed, who is online. Is it possible to make Lichess more friendly for blind people? Do you have a concrete suggestion on that account? Our blind mode is pretty good. There are still, I'm having trouble remembering exactly what, but there are still one or two features that aren't great in blind mode. We'll do our best. Patron should be something the account owner thinks they should do. Patron shouldn't be a prize, in my opinion. Well, it doesn't give you anything, so it isn't a prize. Maybe you're agreeing with us, Savage Pirate. I'm sorry, I'm missing context. We could have time to puzzle soon. Lots of questions about that. What else do we have? Man, chat goes quick. Oh, someone was asking if there could be a place to gift patrons. Yeah, a lot of people ask for that. It would be something where on Patreon you would, instead of giving the patron wings to yourself, you would give them as a gift to someone else. It's currently not possible. I wouldn't bet the mortgage that it will appear anytime soon, but we've talked about it. It could happen. As an organization, if we haven't proven that we're slightly afraid of money yet, I don't know what else we have to do. And the devs generally work on what they want to work on or what other people are pressuring them to work on. And they're features that make more money, it's just nobody cares. Nobody's going to do it. If you go to Thibault right now and say, make this feature, it'll make you $1 million, he doesn't care. He has no interest. That is not the way to convince him to do things. So I just answered that question before it came up about gifting patron. Did you enjoy being on Norwegian TV? I did. It's slightly, so for people who don't know, I was on NRK a few days ago, which is like the sort of like the BBC for Norway, during the broadcast for the Air Things Master. It was slightly nerve-wracking, to be honest. You sit there, you like put on a nice shirt, a collared shirt, you have your little earpiece. 5 minutes, are you ready? And I'd be like, okay, yeah. And you sit there for a long time, and then you talk for like 3 minutes, and it's over. Yeah, it was cool. Do you know who all the titled players are? I don't know, there's a lot of them. It's hard to keep track, there's like thousands. Can we expect practice in the mobile application? You can already use it in the mobile browser. Go try Lichess in a mobile browser. See if you like it. Can you detect bench press cheaters? It depends if you consider chemical cheating to be cheating. If I send $50 to Lichess, can I get 1,000 rating points? That sounds fair. Yeah, sure. Why not? Can't think of any problem with that one. Do you ever look at chess-based features as possible adds to Lichess? Do you have any in mind? Maybe. I'm not super familiar with chess-based features, to be honest. LM, how do you get that title? You may not have that title. We do not give out LM anymore, and we never ever will. Please stop asking us. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Janix too. You didn't know that, but many years ago, in the distant past, in the olden times, there was a title called LM, Lichess Master, and it had requirements, and we gave it out, and it was a bad idea. It was too much work to keep up, so we don't do it anymore. And frankly, there's almost no chance it will ever come back. Sorry. What else do we have? What does it take to get your account banned on Lichess? Are death threats and racial slurs A-okay? Your tone suggests that you may be being slightly sarcastic, but maybe not. It's hard to read sarcasm in text form. Yeah, death threats and racial slurs are certainly not okay, and people that do that will suffer consequences. I should point out, we very often, when your crime on Lichess is being very rude or abusive with your communication, we very often will not close the account. We will simply mute it. That is, we found that's a better way to deal with things. So we often get emails that start out with someone saying, this person called me, they strung 17 different racial slurs together and then denied the Holocaust, and their account isn't closed. How dare you, Lichess? How dare you? And that person's just been muted because that's how we often handle things. Are you considering crypto Lichess money? No. That doesn't sound like a good idea. I think organizations that make crypto should make crypto, not us. We want to do chess things. Can Lichess be a FIDE sponsor? That does not, so we would pay them to be a sponsor? Is that how that works? That doesn't sound like a good use of donation money, to be honest. Remember when Lichess used to have a FAQ section when users asked questions? Yeah, we closed that down. It was, we used to have an FAQ section where it was sort of like a forum, but you would ask your question and then people would answer it, and there were some bad answers. There were some things that were very high in Google results that were just incorrect. Or another thing that happened is that they were out of date. There would be a question from 6 years ago, and 6 years ago it was correct, and nowadays it's not, and it's the top Google result, and, well, we didn't like that. Are the donations enough to keep the site running? More than enough, sir. Our donators are very, very generous, and yeah, we are comfortably paying our bills at the moment, and knock on wood, I hope that keeps going as long as possible. Is the average Lichess rating 1,500 or not due to people closing their accounts? I know that it is not precisely 1,500. There are various reasons that can happen. It is very close to 1,500. It is not 1,500.0000 to the 100th decimal place, no. Can you set the LM title to be awarded automatic? No. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but every question about LM, the answer is no. No, we're not doing it. Never, ever. We regret having done it because we still get asked about it 100 times a day. This is not your fault. I'm sorry. It's a very natural question. Can you access the open source software of Lichess? Yes. Go to our GitHub page. There's a link to the source on the homepage. You can go through all of it. You can even use it yourself. You can put it up on your own website as long as you also publish the source. I think If you're a devy sort of technical person, this is all old hat for you. But I think maybe some of the non-technical people, and I would include myself in that, they don't know how open source software works. So how do I put this? Most websites, if you somehow got a hold of the source, if you got a hold of, Facebook, and you put up your own version of Facebook called like Nojoke Book, you would get sued. That software is proprietary. You are not allowed to use it. There are licenses. Very bad. Intellectual property. Bad, bad, bad. With Lichess, you can take the Lichess code. You can host it on your own server. That is perfectly fine. There is no problem. You can use one little part of it. You don't have to, if there's only one part that you need, use that. And there is no problem at all. And in fact, we even have a GitHub site here to make it easy for you. This is what open source software is. When you start tinkering and trying to make chess software, it is very helpful to have some of the work already done for you. You don't have to start from scratch. The only requirement that our license has, if you want to use Lichess code, is that whatever you make must also be open source in the way that Lichess is, so that we can we can all pay it forward, So many questions. Is there a link to your TV appearance? I'm not aware. I'm not sure. One of my Norwegian friends told me that NRK has video on demand, so you could go find that. It was the first round of the Air Things Masters. After the second or third game, it's not super interesting in my opinion. Did you know they made Lichess into a real thing with a physical board and pieces? What? How does that even work? What makes the clock start when you make a move? Oh man, what if you drop a piece? That's weird. What's the largest donation Lichess has received? I don't think it would be appropriate for me to say that. And I'm not even sure if I know. We've gotten some pretty big donations. There's some very generous people. Are you going to change berserking in tournaments with increment? Berserking in 2-1 and 3-2 is not doable. We have talked about this. There is an element in the Lichess team that very strongly believes in changing how Berserk works with increment, and it may happen. I'm not sure yet. Basically, what this person is talking about, if you're unaware, berserking in Lichess tournaments is when you have your time, so you have 90 seconds instead of 3 minutes, and you get an extra point. And the idea is that if you are that much better than your opponent, you can get an extra point, but you have to, add some risk. Berserking is much less popular in increment tournaments because you also lose the increment, which makes it way, way, way worse in increment tournaments. So a 1-0 game, if you berserk it, you have 30 seconds. If you're playing a 3-2 game, you have 90 seconds and no increment. So we could eventually give half the increment or give part of the increment. I don't know. It could happen. I don't know yet. What would be the best way to suggest feature requests nowadays, seeing as I have put a lot of effort into GitHub posts a while ago in which I have not received any attention? Let's talk about feature requests. Let's talk about feature requests for a minute. People come to us every day and they want something new on Lichess. They want a button here that does this. They want a new variant. They want a new tournament format. They want a cup holder on the side. They want the thing that's blue to be green, so on and so forth. Now, the official way to make feature requests is to make a GitHub issue and say, I want this. I would recommend that before you do that, you go ask in the Discord, because it's very possible that whatever you're asking for has already been asked for. When you make a GitHub issue, that is not a to-do list. That is not necessarily ever going to happen. Okay? There may be practical or technical reasons that it's not possible. And here's the part that people don't understand. It may be something that we want and still not get done for a while because it's just not a priority. Right? There are tags on issues. Let me see if I can show you an issue. Where are the issues? Here. There are tags on issues, and see, bug, can't reproduce, puzzles, no scale, puzzles, so on and so forth. One of the tags is want. And what that tag means is, yes, we want that, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it tomorrow. It may not be a priority. If there is something, broken that has to be fixed first, we may prefer to like work on new puzzles before we do that. So it's very possible to make a feature request and nothing will happen. And I feel sort of bad because it feels like we're just ignoring you. But I assure you, the Lichess devs look at all of these issues. So you have been heard, you just may not necessarily get the feature you want. Isn't it at least a little suspicious that Lichess is so many O's, good many O's? Any metadata using or... Do you think we sneakily have trackers or something? We don't, you can look. If someone uses anyone else's account to play an online tournament, is it cheating? You can call it cheating if you want. It's against Lichess rules. One account is for one person, and if a different person uses it, we don't like that. There are various reasons that this is a problem. Berserking, for example, just to pick one example. If you think you are playing a, 1100 and you berserk and you're actually playing a GM, you may have a problem. And the person that's playing the GM would be understandably upset that they were lied to about who they were playing. Mega Database has about 8 million games. Lichess Explorer has only 2 million. Can you import more games into Lichess? Just don't import the annotated ones to avoid piracy issues. Thank you for the advice. Yeah, we should probably update the Lichess master database. It hasn't been updated in a while. More games is not necessarily better. When you're curating a master's database, there are different philosophies. Many people have noticed, for example, that the Lichess database doesn't have very old games. So you won't find games from, Zurich 1953. I'm looking for a great Bronstein game and it's not in there. Many people don't want those to be in there, right? If you want to see the Bronstein game, I understand. They're great games. The people that don't want them because it messes with the statistics. If they want to go and look and see how the King's Indian defense scores, they don't want games from 70 years ago because the state of the opening 70 years ago is not relevant to today. It will skew the statistics. They want recent games so that when you see how an opening scores, if it's very successful or very unsuccessful, it is current. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I guess the ideal solution is to have more than one master's database, but that's adding a lot of complexity. I don't see that happening soon on Lichess. Is the rating system different on chess.com and Lichess? Yes, there are two different rating systems. They do not match up. They probably never will. You cannot change usernames. Sorry. When is the next patch out for Lichess? This candy's getting too OP. Has Dr. Nichterstein made a generous donation? He famously, in the first few tournaments that he played, titled arena tournaments, he donated his prize after winning it. So yes. Do you need volunteers for non-dev, non-techie things? Yes. If so, how do people volunteer? This is a tricky question. If you're interested in volunteering, I would just start hanging out on the Discord. I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm actually working on something right now that would need non-techie volunteers, and I'll announce it on the Discord when it's ready to go. Why do Magnus and Alireza not play in titled arenas anymore? Has it been that long? Really? I don't know. Ask them. I haven't the slightest idea. Doesn't seem like that long to me. Is there need for dev volunteers? Yes, always. For devs, the way to volunteer is much simpler because there's less devs. There's a great YouTube video on how to install the Lichess dev environment on our YouTube. I would go check that out. And then I would head to the GitHub, and there are issues that are marked good first issue. A lot of issues don't involve Scala, so maybe if you only know JavaScript, there may be an issue you can help out with. I would head to the Discord and just check in and say, you know, I'm going to do this issue. I'm going to take a crack at it, and they'll go from there. What else do we have here? Can we make pull requests on GitHub? Yes, that's how that works. But again, I would recommend checking in on the Discord before you code Bughouse and then do a pull request. If you code, you know, upside down 3D Bughouse with cup holders and just do the pull request, I don't like your chances. And that would be very sad if you worked very hard on something like that and it didn't get used. In the PC interface, there is an empty area below the notation, and while this section is empty, the opening book literally invades notation sections, and a lot of the info in the opening book is just smashed in there. Any thoughts of possibly putting the opening book in an empty area of the page, at least on PC? Let me see if I can see what you're talking about here. I assume you mean on the analysis board. Okay, so you play some moves here. Right, whatever. Something along these lines. And then when you do the opening book, it pops up right here. What's happening here? There's an empty area below the notation, and while this section is empty, the opening book literally invades notation. Oh, so if there's a lot of notation, you mean it covers it up? I mean, we want everything that you need to see to be visible in as small amount of space as possible. We would really like you to not... We would like to make the board as huge as possible, and ideally you won't have to scroll to see anything. Or the stuff that you have to scroll to see is the stuff you will use the least, so you will be scrolling not very often. Yeah, I like this layout, but I would listen to suggestions on how to make it better. How can I write code for Lichess if I want? Go for it. I just finished talking about that. I guess you got your answer. Are there any plans to have tournaments that are not arenas on a regular basis? We have tournaments that are not arenas on a regular basis. We have Swiss tournaments, and we have team arenas, if you consider that to be a different format. The Swiss tournaments are not super discoverable, if I'm being totally honest, and we may do something to improve that at some point. Go to play and then Swiss tournaments, and you will see ongoing Swiss tournaments and ones that are started soon. The last site update, well, second to last, there have been a lot lately, made a change to this page where we try to find Swiss tournaments that would be better for people who want to like just drop in to the tournament, right? Because Swiss's tournaments have to be tied to teams. So there's very often some community that produces the Swiss tournament. There's, you know, in real life chess club or whatever. This page helps you find a Swiss tournament if you are not part of that community. This is just for anybody to play in, hopefully. It would be nice if you could see Swiss tournaments for teams that you've joined on the tournament page, if you could see them here. Like, maybe if there's a Swiss tournament for a team that you're a part of, it would appear down here somewhere. We might do that at some point. Maybe. What else do we have? If a friend sitting behind me tells me a move, is that against the rule? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to find your own moves. You cannot take them from a computer, and you can't take them from your friends. Are you using neural networks for anything yet? Yes. We use a neural network for cheat detection. The newest version of Stockfish has neural network elements. Anything else we use it for? Yeah, I think that's it. I might have forgotten something. Shouldn't berserking be actually against the rules since it can artificially lower one's rating? This is an excellent point. This is an excellent point. Losing on purpose is against the rules on Lichess, and very often people will do this to lower their ratings. Maybe they want to play in a tournament that has a rating limit. They're over 2,000 rated and they want to play in the under 2,000 tournament. Maybe they want to troll and just, you know, be rated 500 and just be beating GMs because they're a GM too. And all of this is against the rules. There is sort of, kind of, as my friend Gadzinisco here points out, a legal way to sandbag by berserking. Because when you berserk, which is totally allowed, it's a feature of Lichess, you will score worse. You will have worse results, which will surely lower your rating. All I can say is that this indeed is sort of a problem. I don't think it's a huge problem. And it's a problem that we're just going to deal with, that just we'll do our best because berserking makes the site more fun. People like berserking. It makes the tournaments more interesting, makes them more fun. We'll police sandbagging as best we can. It would be really unfortunate if we nuked a popular feature for something that I don't consider to be a super serious issue. Well, a super common issue. Correspondence tournaments. No current plans, but maybe. What else do we have here? Oh, here we go. Here's an interesting one. Nyangao says, shouldn't Lichess take a stand on the fact that Twitch is once in a while blocking the stream for some seconds with a message saying that it would be nicer for them if you watch directly on their site? I prefer watching on Lichess. Well, first of all, we don't control this. When you go to a Lichess streamer page, let me show you what I'm talking about. When you go to a Lichess streamer page, you have what is called an embed. And this is basically a little piece of Twitch that is implanted into Lichess. So everything around the edges here is Lichess. The part in the middle is Twitch. We do not control it. Twitch just gives it to us and we put it on the website, and whatever they give us has to go up. So if we were going to take a stand, what would that be? We could remove embeds and not have streamer pages. That seems slightly extreme to me. I don't think we're going to end up doing that because people like streamer pages. They find them useful. So if Twitch wants to be difficult, it's not much we can do about it, unfortunately. Austin Connor says, Austin_Connor. I love these questions. What if you are playing a game and someone comes into your room and shouts at you and tells you Stockfish's recommendation and you don't have an option to stop that happening? Good question. Good question. I love the rules lawyering. These are my favorite conversations. Yes. What if I'm attacked by a team of ninjas and the ninjas kidnap my family, and the only way that I can save my family, my beloved children and wife and aunts and uncles is to cheat on Lichess. They made me do it. Sorry, I'm being a bit silly, but if someone in this scenario, to answer your question seriously, if someone shouted moves at you without your consent, that would technically be cheating, but of course we can use our heads. We have the discretion to punish that cheating in any way we want. In the scenario you described, you would be very unlikely to get banned because we would say, yes, that's not, that shouldn't be happening, but you couldn't stop it. And we would say, don't be friends with that person anymore, please. We wouldn't ban you. What is the maximum capacity for the Lichess servers? There's currently 100,000 players online. That's mad. I can't give you a precise number because we've never done that stress test. I can tell you it is a number much, much, much larger than 100,000. It is certainly not 120,000. It is much larger than that. When the pandemic hit, we had to scramble a bit to handle all the new load because the user base got a lot bigger. And fortunately, all of the hard work done by the Lichess devs and the sysadmins in that time have left us very, very well prepared for the current boom. Is Lichess run by volunteers or is it a company? No, it is certainly not a company. It is a charity registered in France. The majority of the people who do work for Lichess are volunteers, are unpaid. We are not a company. We are not run like a company. There's no company here. We have themed bots. Well, they're kind of our bots. Let me see if I can find this page, because I actually just learned about this page myself. And I'm going to be... Oh, here it is. Yes. So if you go to community players and then click on online bots, there is a list of bots here. So if you want some sort of themed computer to play against, you can find one here. And there are some cool ones in here. I saw a bot one time that was Stockfish. So it was Stockfish with the one small caveat that it would give away its queen in the first two moves. It would play like e4, queen h5, queen takes h7 or something, queen takes f7 on every move. And then after that, it was just Stockfish. It was fun to play it. There's another bot on here that's called like the Turtle or something. I'm not going to look for it, but there's one that turtles. So it's strong, but it never wants to put a piece beyond the third rank, which for me was just fascinating to play with. Just like a godlike defensive player where you have this overwhelming position, but punching through is not trivial. Because whenever the tactics happen to like win the game, you're going against Stockfish, which is not where you want to be. What else do we have? Getting behind on questions again. How often do your cheating bans get overturned? Are you happy that they are accurate enough? Once in a while, bans do get overturned. Usually it's an automated system that screwed something up. They are incredibly, incredibly uncommon. I don't have precise numbers, but the number of bans that get overturned is far below 1%. Probably below 0.1%. No, definitely below 0.1%. It is a microscopic number. So yes, I'm happy with that. That seems reasonable to me. Isn't it a nonprofit, not a charity? Yeah, maybe in other languages the difference between a nonprofit and a charity is significant. I think maybe this is my Americanness showing, but I consider nonprofits and charities to be somewhat synonymous, although I guess they're not. Yes, we're not trying to make a profit. We don't have investors. We don't have a stock price. We are people. And we take donation money and we make a website. Has Lichess run into legal problems in countries with censorship because of the chat feature? I don't believe you can access Lichess in China. I don't think we get through the Great Firewall. I would listen if someone wanted to correct me on that. I don't know if that's because of the chat feature. I don't know why that would be. I think most Western websites don't get through, so I wouldn't take it personally. Not taking it personally, China. No worries. It's all good. Can you show us the exact difference between a patron account and an entirely free account, maybe even in one sentence? I only get one sentence? Can I have two sentences? Can I have a sentence with a clause? What if I have one of these very self-indulgent sentences with like 7 commas in it, where it really is like 3 or 4 sentences, but I just used commas like a jerk to... Anyway, there's no difference between, practically, between a patron account and a non-patron account. The difference is you get wings, the little wings trophy. And that's it. Legal problems, they can just ignore requests from country's government to take down content. Yeah, I mean, in theory, governments could ask us to take stuff down. I don't recall anything like that happening. Occasionally there is copyrighted material on Lichess and publishers contact us to take it down. Even that doesn't happen much. But I mean, that's standard website stuff. I think that happens to everybody. Did Lichess donate some of the prize pool for the Crazy House World Championship? No, we did not. That was all John Lee, I believed. On the mobile app, I usually get puzzles that I have just solved, and if I resolve them, the rating doesn't change. Is it a known bug? So the puzzle system is brand new. There's maybe some bugs still floating around. And one of the things that causes problems is that the app and the website are not the same software. So there may be problems that only exist on one or the other. I would suggest trying the mobile browser if you're having trouble with the app. I know there were some problems with the app's cache where it may show you the same puzzle more than once sometimes. Speak some Spanish for the boys. No quiero. Déjame en paz. Are you Serbian? No. I am not Serbian. What else? Leaddrafts.com or leaddrafts.org. Is it from Lichess or is it its own thing? It is its own thing. We get emails from people with issues about pie chess, about lead drafts, about blitz tactics. There's a whole like family of websites, our children, if you will. And people assume that we run them, which is really unfair because, well, we don't run them. And we also didn't build them. Some person or group of people worked very hard to build these websites. Lead drafts, to pick the example that you mentioned. Can I show you lead drafts? Let me bring it up here. Hold on. Lead drafts. Here we go. So this is lead drafts. Oh, wait, no, I messed it up. Okay, forget it. Anyway, lead drafts is a website based on Lichess that does drafts or checkers if you're an American. Lead drafts is not a copy paste. You cannot take the Lichess code and hit Control-C, Control-V and have lead drafts. It is a totally different game that works in a totally different way. And the lead drafts dev worked very, very hard to make lead drafts and deserves credit. So we did not make lead drafts. Stop saying that. It's not true. Can we make the board resizable if we're just spectating other players? I believe so. Grab the lower right corner. What exactly is different about the new puzzles? Well, I would point you to our blog post, which you can find down here, to read all about new puzzles. Basically, the two new things is, first of all, it's a totally new puzzle set, so they're different puzzles. And the algorithm we use to find the puzzles, I think, is improved. And then the other new thing is themes. So we have a startlingly long list of themes here. You can get puzzles only from the opening, from the middle game, different motifs, different end games, checkmates. There's even stuff like equality. I love these puzzles. These are puzzles where you come back from a losing position. Basically, there is still only one good move, and when you find it, you will be in an even position. So they're like defensive puzzles, which is very cool. I'm gonna take that, right? Oh boy, why did I start this? Do I have to give like a perpetual check here? Do that? All right, whatever. We're not doing puzzles. I'm gonna embarrass myself. Forget you saw that. You saw nothing. What's your rating? I don't know. Look it up. This is me. Are you Bobby Fischer's nephew? Yes. Okay, no. No, I'm not. Sorry, I lied. No joke, you're not answering my question. I'm personally offended. Well, ask it again or send me a private message. Nobody who knows me personally, like in real life, should be asking questions. Maybe you're asking questions trying to be helpful. Send me a text, whatever. Can you help get my family back? Literally kidnapped 20 seconds ago. Something about I have to cheat on Lichess now. Sorry, Z Nation. Rules are rules. If you cheat, you get banned, just like anybody else. Your family is your problem. What else do we have? Will you upload this stream somewhere? I would like to watch it later. Yes, the video on demand will be available both on Twitch and on YouTube afterwards in perpetuity. Available forever until the heat death of the universe. Is an opening trader feature being considered for Lichess? Depending on exactly what you want. I'm not super familiar with the Chess Tempo or Chess Base, or I think Chessable has something, opening training feature. But depending on exactly what you want, the functionality may already exist in studies. So you can already make a study with the moves that you want to play in your repertoire. You can make a study that like quizzes you, that prompts you, what's the move here, what's the move here. So if you want other things, I don't know, might already be possible. Do players with a wing trophy are able to play in titled tourneys? No. The wing trophy gives you access to no part of the website that is not accessible to everyone. That is what we do. What do we have here? Well, there's some kind of construction work happening outside my door. I hope it's not too annoying for you guys. Is Bughouse a viable variant for Lichess in the future? Probably not the near future. Why are you on the bots page? Someone asked about bots, so I showed them the bots page. Later on, someone will ask me about something else, and we'll go to that page. Not going to answer questions about cheat detection, sorry. PD159, sorry. When the title says ask me almost anything, I will not talk about cheat detection. That is a blanket policy of Lichess. We never discuss specifics of cheat detection. This would make things much easier for cheaters. I would love to tell you all about cheat detection, and if I did, when I get back to Lichess HQ, all of the hardworking Lichess cheat mods would beat me up. So don't get me beat up, please. Why don't normal players play in Lichess titled arenas? Well, we just thought it would be cool to have a tournament only for title players. It also, it's nice to have a tournament where everyone is verified. So you have to go through the verification process to get your title on Lichess, and obviously if we have a titled only tournament, then only verified players are playing, which I think people like. I don't know. I am not titled, I've never played in them, so I can't tell you anything about the appeal. I am unlikely to be eligible for them anytime soon. Does Lichess manage to achieve its expenses solely from donations every month? Yeah, pretty much. We get a little bit of money from the merchandise store. It's not a lot. It's a tiny percentage of our total income. Basically, for all intents and purposes, all of our money comes from donations. Do you know of any Lichess sister page to play Go? I'm sort of vaguely remembering seeing something like that. Maybe Googling would reveal it. I'm not sure. If they're not, you should make it. What about tournaments for bots? Maybe. Maybe. Bot accounts currently can't play in tournaments. Someone would have to implement the new feature. I don't know how much of a priority it is, but it's not a crazy idea. You're not titled? Did you stop your NM subscription? Yes, that's what happened. I used to be a GM, but I lapsed in the payments. Otherwise, I still would be. Titled Arena is Titled Arena open for Lichess Masters? No. Again, I mentioned earlier, whatever your question is, if it's about Lichess Masters, the answer is no. No, 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 no. No. Why are fake tournaments with prizes allowed? That's the most important question. Is this a tournament where someone doesn't pay out the prize? Because that is not allowed. It can be slightly hard to police, but I mean, these things happen in real life too. What I believe this person's asking about is there are prize tournaments on Lichess where the winner gets $5 or some monetary amount. Occasionally these tournaments have entry fees, so you pay a little bit to be able to play, and then if you win, you get the prize. And this is all fine. This is all according to Lichess rules. There's no problem. As you might expect, occasionally people do not pay out the prizes. This is not okay. If you're making, especially if you're collecting money from people, this is not okay with us. But sort of hard to preemptively police, if you know what I mean. This happens in OTB tournaments all the time too. There's, I can remember lots of, random local drama when some organizer didn't pay out and the player went on Facebook and said, John organizer didn't pay me my prize, and they were in the comments saying, yes, I did. And yeah, that's chess. That's how it goes. How does Lichess know my local time? Well, your browser probably knows your local time, not Lichess. Maybe your browser tells Lichess. Do you refund rating points for peyote who lose to GMs who are using an alt account for a speedrun? No, we don't do the whole refund points for a speedrun thing. That is not something we do. What is your proudest moment in the evolution of Lichess, the prestige of Lichess? I don't know, man. I have a pretty consistent level of pride every day. It's hard to pick one day. I don't know if it's pride, but the Lichess meetups made me very happy. I guess it made me proud too, but it gives me an excuse to share the stories. So in the olden times, when you were allowed to get on a vehicle called an aeroplane and travel to other places, I know it would be difficult for the young people in the chat to visualize, but you used to be able to go to different countries and different parts of your country. We used to have Lichess meetups because the Lichess team is spread out everywhere. There's people in Europe, there's people in Asia, there's people in the Americas, and we don't usually see each other in person. So once a year, sometimes more, sometimes twice, we would meet up. We'd pick a city and we'd all go meet each other face to face. And I've done this a few times, and it's fantastic. It's super fun to actually see these people face to face and realize that your online friendship translates very directly into an in real life friendship. And we have public meetups. Usually when we do a meetup too, we'll go to a park and just invite any Lichess users to come hang out, and those are super fun. Those are the best. If the world ever opens back up and such things are possible again, I would highly recommend that people try to do that if they can. You can come to some park and berate us for not having multiple pre-moves in Bughouse. It's lots of fun. Are there any plans on introducing timed puzzle challenges? It's very likely, but I can't say more than that. Our second accounts for blindfold chess against the rules. That's okay. As far as multiple accounts, when you make an account on Lichess, you agree to not make any more accounts. In practice, we offer many, many, many exceptions to this. And we probably only get really excited about somebody having multiple accounts when they are using it for some nefarious purpose, for some kind of misbehavior. It is fine to have a second account to play blindfold on. Very often, titled players will have one account that is anonymous, that they can play and nobody knows who they are, and another account that they use to play in official tournaments. Again, this is perfectly fine with us. Why does Lichess not recognize other FIDE titles such as trainers and instructor titles? I don't know. It would be more work, because it is work to verify titles. It's a lot of work. We have to go through documents. There are people that try to fool us, and we have to deal with them. So it's a lot of work to verify playing titles, and the playing titles have a very strong purpose on Lichess. They allow you access to certain tournaments. The trainer titles and instructor titles could have a purpose as well. You would, I assume, use them in a coach's page, or you would put them in your profile. I feel like our users could kind of verify that on their own. It's not totally impossible that we would start recognizing, trainers and instructors titles, but not super excited about the idea personally. Oh, I fall. I always start talking and I fall super behind on the questions. If someone we trust offers a book or software as a prize, is that against the rules? So, let's. Oh, I don't have the change log. There was a change to Lichess policy recently. It is now no longer legal. It is no longer allowed, we'll say, by Lichess rules to offer a PDF or a piece of software or a document as the prize in a tournament. So we were seeing tournaments that gave like a copy of Chess Base as a prize, or they gave a PDF of a chess book as a prize. I think most people watching will see the problem there. I think most people can probably guess. Yeah, if even 1% of those people giving out Chess Base were legit copies, I would be shocked. In theory, you know, you could give out software legally, and you could give out PDFs legally. There are, you know, legal ways to do that. I think those would be a very small percentage of the people that were doing it, and it would be another thing we have to police, which I don't want to police, so don't do it. Just came in. What's your position in the Lichess team? How many people are working for Lichess? Salud. Gracias. I call myself the Lichess community organizer, but the titles don't mean much. We're dirty hippies. We don't care about titles. We just get to work. So I generally do the non-technical stuff on Lichess. I answer emails. I do Twitch streams. I take interviews recently. Yeah, I do the community stuff. The other part of the question is how many people are working for Lichess. That is a very difficult question to answer because we have a very large volunteer team, and volunteers tend to kind of come and go. People will arrive as volunteers and be very, very active and work a ton, and then something happens and they get a new job or they get a girlfriend or whatever, and they suddenly are not quite as active. So people are always kind of coming and going. I would say something like 50 people in the last month or so have done some significant work for Lichess. And 44 of them are volunteers or something. VSim is making a joke that we always pick Montreal for the meetup. We do. All of our North American meetups have been in Montreal. And I mean, are you surprised? We have a very European heavy team, so they want something on the East Coast of of North America so they can get to it. A lot of them are French speakers. So which city do you think they're going to pick? Hartford, Connecticut was also considered, but Utica, New York was also considered, but in the end we went with Montreal for some unknown reason. Is America the country and America the continent? Is that in American English? Yeah, we're not going to get too into nomenclature right now. Americans from the country America think that they are the only America, and many people in Latin America disagree on that point. I remember meetups in Europe. Yeah, there's meetups in Europe. There could be meetups everywhere. The North American meetups at the moment, all of which have been in Montreal, which is fine with me. Montreal's great. What's the backstory for Horsey? So yeah, I guess you're looking at Horsey right now on the merch page. Horsey is this little horse that you're seeing here. It has a Santa hat, but the normal version doesn't have the Santa hat. We did a blog post joking around at one point saying that we had a new logo and this was our new logo. And I think that's pretty much the root of the joke. And I believe the Horsey, I would need to check on this. I believe, so on the merch store we have Horsey stuff and we also have the regular logo. I believe the Horsey logo stuff sells better than the regular logo stuff. And in fact, I think the Horsey logo stuff was available on the merch store before the regular logo stuff, which is unsurprising. It's objectively better. Are you seeing diminishing numbers for FIDE title applications because most titled players are on Lichess now? I haven't the slightest idea how to answer that. I would guess that we have more FIDE title applications because we have more users overall, but I do not have concrete numbers on that question. Are you hiring software engineers? We are not. We are hiring volunteers. That's not really hiring, is it? How can you apply for a coach without being a titled player? Unfortunately, you have to have a FIDE playing title to get a coach's page on Lichess. There are a few people that were grandfathered in because we didn't always do that. People may complain and say that they're a great coach without being a very strong player, and I have no doubt that that is true. I understand completely. We need to have some limit on who gets a coach's page. There are already hundreds of coaches, maybe even more than 1,000, in the Lichess coaches system, and I don't think the system works properly if there are 40,000 coaches. I think it would lose a lot of utility, maybe all utility. And if we let anyone get a coach page, there would quickly be tens of thousands of coaches. So we have to find some limit to keep it at the number we want, and right now the limit is that you have to have a FIDE playing title. Very sorry. If Bill Gates offered his fat bank on buying out Lichess, would it be considered? Absolutely not. People try to buy Lichess all the time, and they are all told no immediately. I don't even know if buying Lichess would be possible. Like, if we wanted to, which we do not, I don't even know how that would happen, because all of the software is open source, and all of our volunteers and even people that get paid to work for Lichess would immediately have nothing to do with it. I personally would have nothing to do with a Lichess purchased by Bill Gates. I'm out. I'm finding new things to do with my time, and I think everybody on the team would do the same. So why would you pay for that? I don't know. Does Lichess have any hopes as a newspaper? No, I don't think we'd make a good newspaper. Will Lichess ever do stream sponsorships? It depends what you mean by that exactly. If you mean like paying people to stream from Lichess, no. We will pay people to make content that they were, on like Lichess channels, but paying people just to play on Lichess on their own channel, no. It's not something we do. What does Lichess think of Sci-Hub? Well, Lichess is a website, so it doesn't have a lot of opinions on things that aren't about websites or chess. I think Sci-Hub's great. So I can only answer on an individual level. Why is St. Louis always the top stream? Do they pay you? St. Louis is not always the top stream. In fact, occasionally St. Louis streams and is not on the front page. And of course they don't pay us. We would not take payment to be on the front page. That would be very much against our core principles. What else do we have here? What cloud hosting provider do you use? We use OVH for our main servers. We may use other ones for other little things. I'm not super sure. You can look in our cost spreadsheet, which is on Patreon. Where are you? Here, Patreon. And right here on the Patreon page, there's a cost spreadsheet, which goes through how much we spend on servers and how many there are, and you may find that interesting. How are features approved for Lichess? Well, we talk about it, and we decide if we're going to make the feature. And of course, whether or not we make it is very dependent on, having a dev to code it. Are there improvements planned for the coaches page? I recently tried to find one, and it was hard to differentiate people on location, time zone, language, and costs. I also found it hard to judge how good each coach actually was. Well, the last part of that question is the hard part, isn't it? We could add other ways to organize the coaches page. Time zones is an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, I can see the usefulness of that. As far as quantifying how good a coach is, that is a tough one, and it is not it is not a technical issue, is it? I think we will have to use reviews and, whatever other methods you can find to decide if a coach is good. I'm not going to have Bughouse anytime soon. Why is the pairing system in tournaments flawed? Could you explain how it's flawed? Might there be a way to improve the learn from your mistakes feature, as sometimes it's not at all obvious why the solution is the best one? Well, for puzzles or games or anything where the engine likes a move better than another one, it is very important to be able to sort of play through it and see why the engine likes one move or not. Maybe that would be a good topic for a YouTube video at some point. Basically, if you see the engine doesn't like a move and you think some other move is better and you're thinking, why can't I play this move? Play the move and see what the engine does, and usually it's pretty clear why the engine's move is better, at least in my experience. Will Lichess ever add a bookstore? There are no current plans, and I don't especially like the idea either. Can Lichess make live video from the World Chess Championship hereafter? Like have an official Lichess stream for the World Championship? I mean, maybe. We could hire commentators for the World Championship or for any event. The thing about hiring commentators is that they're expensive. It's very expensive to hire, a prominent GM for many hours a day for, 2 weeks or however long some tournament lasts. And we may do it, and we have had commentators for stuff in the past. But I think we kind of just prefer to let regular streamers do it. In the last World Championship, maybe the one before that, I'm having trouble remembering. We had Chess Network was doing commentary and was doing great and was getting 20,000 views and stuff. And so we could hire somebody, or why not just let Chess Network do it? He already has a big audience. I don't know. We could do it at some point in the future. It's kind of a rambling answer. I apologize. How many patrons are there currently? I don't know. A lot. Really a lot. I would have to look that up. Is there a way we can gift a patronship? No, not currently. Sorry. How much do I need to donate to become a patron? $1 is the minimum donation. Yes. Will there something be done about the coaching reviews? There are many fake spammy ones, and there's no way to find the best reviewed. If you see coach reviews that you think are illegitimate, please report them. Of course, that sort of thing is possible, and we would like to know about it if you discover it. Why do top chess players lose their hair and get bald? Their brain is too strong, I guess. Are all the patrons listed on the patron page? I don't think so. Floyd says I should do the commentary. Or no, Gribble19, sorry. You don't want me doing the commentary. If I did the commentary for the World Championship matches, I would just ignore the game and, talk about a taco stand near my house and how their salsa is too spicy or something. It's a little niche for public consumption. Didn't you have Fiona and/or GM Ian Rogers? Yes, Fiona was doing interviews for us at a candidates tournament, and Ian Rogers was writing amazing travel logs / tournament reports. And I hope we'll be doing it again soon. Ian is an older gentleman, and I think for reasons you can probably figure out, could not go to the candidates. And we weren't going to make him. So maybe that will start up again soon, that sort of thing. How can I collaborate with Lichess to moderate the chats? You will have to wait for us to ask. Mod positions are invitation only. Sorry, we do not take applications. When is the Crazy House tournament? I don't know. What is the biggest commentary thing you have personally done? I guess that would be the NRK interview a week ago. I assume that's the thing that I've done that most people have seen. I was also the star of the How to Pronounce Lichess video, which is my what I'm the most proud of. Are donations to Lichess tax deductible? That is a question for a tax accountant. You should not listen to our advice. We are not experts on the tax rules in various countries. Is it possible to donate anonymously and not receive the wings icon? Yes, if you're not logged in, when you donate, you will not get the wings. And people do that on accident, of course, a lot, and we have to fix it. This is a question I've had since long. I cannot access live analysis bar for games I spectate. Is this because of additional computer power? There is no live analysis on live games played on Lichess. So that, I think, would explain it. There are pages called broadcasts of usually over-the-board tournaments that have a live analysis bar. It is not on every game played on Lichess. What else do we have? Is it today at... everybody's asking about the Crazy House event. I don't know anything about it. Sorry. Last chance to get in questions. We're going to be wrapping this up soon. Last chance. I'm going to take just a few more questions and then we're going to get out of here. Just a few more questions. Sorry. Is there any plan to implement a freeze study feature so that I don't accidentally mess something up like an opening repertoire? Yeah, there's a button on every study that freezes the study. I'm not logged in, I can't show it to you, sorry. But there's a button that is right or non-right, and you turn that off, and then none of the changes you make will be saved. So that's a good one. I like it when people make feature requests and we already have it. Will Lichess ever have an opening trainer? Depending on what you want, it may already be available in studies. Where do meetups get announced? We'll do blog posts. Follow us on social medias and read our blog posts and you'll hear about the meetups. Can Lichess make partnerships with any top corporates, and is that possible? It's possible, but very difficult to set up. Most corporations that want partnerships, they want advertising, and we don't do that. So BMW does a partnership, and they want to put a giant BMW logo on the homepage, and we're not going to do that. So, yeah, we could work with big corporations, but there are barriers. Will we ever recognize arena titles? No. I think we're about ready to wrap this up. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to raid Mr. Jan Lee, who is an amazing Crazy House player, and he's showing an amazing match. And this is a real raid. I'm actually going to go watch. So please come with me to watch this amazing World Championship match. And thank you for watching. I had a great time. I'll see you again soon. I love you all. Goodbye.